I'd like you to give another round of applause to your Brooklyn Borough President, Eric Adams.
Thank you very much. And Diana, I say it often, Diana, her husband and I were police officers together. And now I have a new partner walking the beat of Brooklyn. And we're excited about that. And I just want to take a note. I've been sharing this all day, you know, and I think it's fitting. A child, as he lies in his mother's stomach, and the embryonic fluid that's around him protects him from the harm and danger of any type of impact. If there are any New York Post reporters in here, they need to know I'm surrounded by the embryonic fluid of the women of this place. Mothers have been protecting me for so many years. They would stop me on the subway stations and just put their hands on my shoulders and say a silent prayer and just move on. I have been surrounded by the women of this city. And no matter how difficult things may be, people don't realize that you have been praying for this moment that I can occupy Borough Hall so we can open the doors for all the people that are part of this borough we call Brooklyn. And Diana and we are excited. This building is going to be more than this beautiful edifice that sits in the heart of downtown Brooklyn at the foot of the Brooklyn Bridge. It needs to become a place where people can feel the spirit at each time they walk past the structure. They can remember something that happened here that inspired them and that they came here with their problems, and even if we can't solve them, they left with their dignity and respect intact. Government must become user-friendly, and it must become compassionate, because compassion is a gift that keeps on giving, and no one knows that more than the women who we are honoring today. This is one of my favorite events. We did it as a state senator, and we're going to continue to expand it in Borough Hall. It gives me an opportunity, a self-admitted mama's boy, to say thank you to all the ladies who are in the house. We're going to give a new definition to Ladies' Night. And so we want to thank also some of our sponsors, just some of the great everyday corporations that are doing real things and just giving back. My good friends from Investor Bank is here. They did not hesitate when we stated we wanted to honor women. Brooklyn Oni Aluji, that's one of our favorite wine stores. So when you get downstairs, you want to get your swerve on, we got some wine downstairs for you. Fairway Market, Flowerworks, Felice Rosa, our evening entertainment, and my staff, Lori Lewis, who's also, her husband was a lieutenant with me in the police department. You can tell I like cops around me, you know. And her staff, and Elizabeth Ernest, who has been great putting things together, and the entire external affairs team that's here. And we also have just a special keynote that's really going to set the tone for us at the end of the night. Our good friend Amma Jamal, Amma, who was a prosecutor in the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office, started the unit Crimes Against Children, and she has a passion for children, and we're just glad that she was able to join us, not only here as the keynote, but she also has joined Team Adams in One Brooklyn. She's now our special counsel here in the Borough President's office, and we're looking forward to hearing from Amma in this evening to come. So I'm going to put the evening in the hands of my trusted deputy, because this is not guys' night, this is women's night. So I'm going to step back and just say thank you to all the honorees that are sitting here in front of us, and even the folks that are sitting up in the bleachers that have come here to join us. You know, just thank you, honorees. We can't say enough. I was reading your bios, and we did something conscious this year. We stated, we're not going to just merely stay on the surface and go after the traditional people that everyone acknowledges. We wanted to reach everyday ladies and bring them in and let them know we acknowledge you. We respect what you're doing. And you do it every day in a very simple and quiet way, in a consistent fashion. And you really are the energy of Brooklyn and what makes Brooklyn great. And so this is our moment of just saying thank you. And your family and friends that are here are joining us in this celebratory energy that's in the room. And we saying it in a very unified manner. Thank you. Thank you for making Brooklyn one Brooklyn.
So at this moment, it's going to be the Mistress of Ceremonies' prerogative to honor a special woman in a non-traditional way, of course, with flowers. What woman wouldn't love flowers? But this is a woman who has given birth to the Deputy Borough President. And so bear with me as I honor my mother, who, Maria Reina, and my father, who never leaves her behind. Bienvenido, Reina. My mother, as a young woman in her late 20s, early 30s, traveled from the Dominican Republic in the 60s to Puerto Rico as a nanny and came here to the United States, to Los Sures, Williamsburg, in a time when women at that age would be considered either a nun or beyond her youth to ever get married. And she broke all traditional bounds as far as I'm concerned and taught us to be independent women. She raised 3 with my father and 1 daughter who was left behind in the Dominican Republic, who's my half-sister. And all 4 daughters today have been able to raise their families in this country because of this one woman. And our family is a very large one. My dad is one of 12, and my mom is one of 9. And it is one woman who changed the lives of all those people and the generations thereafter. And I wanted to share with you how important it is that we recognize what is the trials and tribulation of individuals that leave foreign land, take a risk, and do beyond what is searching for opportunities, but liberties as well. This was during a time when there was a dictatorship in the Dominican Republic. And so political asylum was very much in the lives of so many in Dominican Republic. And I could not have been prouder of my mother, who stood in this very room to watch her daughter become the first Dominican woman elected to office in the state of New York. As far as the city council is concerned, serving 12 years. And so this is a tribute to you, Mami. Te quiero mucho. Quería dejarte saber que adoro todo el sacrificio que ha hecho con papi, dejándonos saber de que usted siempre ha sembrado en nosotros lo que es la independencia de una mujer, que sigamos lo que es con fortaleza, llegar a cabo lo que es llegar a ser una mujer hecha y derecha, como siempre nos decía. She always wanted us to be women, straight, with fierce attitude and grace as well. Quiero darte la gracia porque has sido la piedra en mi vida y quería nada más darte este homenaje de flores para ti, para que siempre recuerdes que nosotros estamos aquí por ti y que sea ese el legado más grande que tú nos dejes, la herencia de tu amor, tu paciencia y siempre ser la mejor mujer que has visto en mi vida. My father has always said, your mother's a saint, and she was mine from the very beginning, so thank you. My dad is the emotional one. My mother never saw her cry. So that leads us into what is an opportunity for us to
I started Brooklyn Enology in 2006, and it's my winery that I started to represent not only the grapes of New York, but really to make a representation of what Brooklyn is all about. So in producing my wines, I source grapes from all over New York State, primarily the North Fork of Long Island and the Finger Lakes. And after producing those wines, I seek out artists to collaborate with to feature their art on our labels. And so the wine is not just about where the grapes are grown, otherwise known as terroir in the wine world, but I like to think of the wines as an expression of Brooklyn itself as a city and a place. You know, it's not just about being a woman, it's about being a person who finds some courage inside and has a great idea and can get up and go with it. And this is really, Brooklyn is such a great environment for that. This is the first kind of major effort that we're doing together. We got to talk about it a couple of weeks ago, and we got to meet for the first time since Mr. Adams has come into office. And I went to his breakfast to discuss his initiatives for small businesses, and I thought this is a great guy to know, and that I would love to contribute to women and minorities in business and be a part of that program and get out there and encourage people to get involved. You know, there still needs to be a bit of a rally behind women. I think more than anything, women need to learn about themselves that it is entirely possible. There really are so few blockades. And it's just that we need to encourage ourselves and each other. These are things we need to stay on top of. You can't kind of just say, hey, everything's great now, and be hunky-dory and relax. You know, you gotta, like anything in life or any issue in life, you need to stay on top of it. And so, you know, being a person who's grown up sort of on both sides of that period of history, it's important to me to keep on rallying behind people. Keep on rallying behind those girls and go get it, go get it.
It means a lot. It gives us a time to reflect on all the women that have gone before us. For me, especially my mother was an entrepreneur, and everything I've learned about business, I'd like to say I've learned it from her. She was a real role model for me, and there are so many other women, some of them unsung, unfortunately, but it really gives us an opportunity to reflect on the women that have been before us and that have paved the way and made it possible for us to do the things that we're doing now. My husband and I, we've had this business for 31 years now. We're really excited about that. That's a huge milestone for us. And it grew out of my need to be more creative. I had a wonderful job with the mayor's office. However, I just had that urge to be more creative on a daily basis. And luckily for me, I had a great supportive husband. So we decided to start this business. We saw a need in the community and we decided to fill it. Every day for an entrepreneur is a challenge, but it takes a lot to go out, satisfy your customer, deliver a great service, and make enough money to pay yourselves and your employees. So every week that we're able to do that, I feel really blessed. The borough president has gotten off to a great start. This is a tremendous opportunity to recognize those women too, as I spoke about before, that are unsung heroes in their own neighborhoods. This gives us an opportunity to celebrate women right here in Brooklyn and in the city of New York that are doing things on a daily basis that would otherwise be unrecognized. It's hard not to be a business person and not know the leaders and shakers in the community. And Eric Adams has always been a leader and shaker, so I was familiar with him. And this was a partnership that he felt was important to highlight the women in the community and to recognize women during this Women's History Month. I think it's great. I'm really honored that I was chosen to be one of the women to represent the borough of Brooklyn, and I hope I am doing a good job.
This gives us the great opportunity to have Lori Cumbo come up to the podium, because she sat down so fast, to come and say a few words. Let's celebrate another great woman, Lori Cumbo.
Thank you. How incredible it is to get such a great introduction from such a powerful and dynamic woman who is such a mentor to me in my new role in the City Council. I am so proud to be chair of the Women's Issues Committee. This is such a dynamic time in the city of New York, and I hope that it's inspiring to each and every woman here, because now is our time. The door has been cracked and the ceilings have been shattered, and it's time for us to kick those doors all the way in and break those ceilings all the way open, and to run for that office, go for that job promotion, start that new business, expand that new business, and do all of the things that we know that we are more than capable of. And if I didn't stress it enough, to ask for that raise, because that is something that we certainly don't do enough of. I just wanted to let you know about two initiatives that I'm going to be really instrumental in. One of them is that our chancellor, when he was in office, he was able to push through legislation to have sex education as part of our middle school and high school curriculum, but it has not quite been implemented on the level that we would like or enforced. We want to see in this administration an expansion of that, because so many young women are making decisions at very early ages that are impacting their entire adult life. So we want to make sure that we get ahead of that. We want to make sure that we put full enforcement and implementation forward. And another one that I'm very, very, very excited about is that we are only one of 4 nations that does not have a maternity leave program, a comprehensive maternity leave program. And we have to make sure in the city of New York that we are the model for what the entire nation should do to make sure that we develop and grow healthy families. If you look at Germany, 1 year paid maternity leave so that families can come together and bring forth life in a safe and nurturing environment. But like I say, every issue is a woman's issue, and when women succeed, America succeeds, and we are going to continue to do great things and to bring about the equality in the city of New York that is going to have a ripple effect all throughout the United States of America. So I'm proud to be your chair of women's issues. When you see me, bring those issues to me, and we are going to bring them to the forefront as far as legislation as well as our budget. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair Lori Combo. This is now the opportunity we have to showcase our ladies. I'd like to call up Marcia Melendez, President of Flowerworks Florist and Landscapers, a full-service florist and landscape construction company, innovator of the Green Teens Essay Contest, which empowers young people to become active in the beautification and sustainability of our urban neighborhoods. Currently, Marcia is also a mentor to the Medgar Evers College Toastmasters Club, chair of the Operations Committee of the Board of the Bed-Stuy Gateway Business Improvement District. One wonders, where does she find the time? And so, another quality as women we make time for everything. We put ourselves last. That's part of what we have to start reversing. And I wanted to just make sure that I plugged in the opportunity to visit the table where they're letting you know there are signs to look out for concerning ovarian cancer. And so that's one of the issues that we really want this evening to impact you with. Making sure we take care of ourselves first before we take care of everyone else. Ingrid Martin-Lewis in this house, who is the senior advisor and former chief of staff to then Senator Adams, always says, I come first, I come second, I come third. And then we'll see who comes after third. So thank you, Ingrid, for that motto. I'd like to call up Ali Shaper, a wine career through tasting rooms, retail stores, distributor and marketing roles, restaurant wine program management, winery tank room and lab work, founding Brooklyn Enology, bringing the first urban winery concept to New York City in 2006, located in Williamsburg. Brooklyn Enology wines have won multiple awards and are featured on wine lists across New York State and beyond. And ladies, we know we can have a great conversation around wine. So we look forward to Ali hosting us whenever she wants as a women's networking opportunity. Thank you, Ali. I'd like to just announce Bianca Cuevas is not here with us tonight, but I would like to just express that she is being honored. She is a high school honor student varsity basketball player, plays as a starter at Nazareth Regional High School of East Flatbush. She's an honor roll student, full scholarship to SEC Powerhouse University of South Carolina, participating in the McDonald's All-American game on April 2nd, 2014. Orphaned at an early age, Bianca gives thanks for her godmother and to Nazareth Regional High School for their care and nurturing. Bianca, we love you. We wish you all the success and to be that leader in Brooklyn, raising other women along with you. Thank you. This next award is presented to our Lieutenant Jacqueline Bourne, joined the New York City Police Department in August of 1993. In 2001, promoted to rank of sergeant and was assigned to the 7-8 precinct in Park Slope, Brooklyn. In 2005, promoted to lieutenant and assigned to the 6-6 precinct, where she worked as the platoon commander. In 2006, transferred to the 70th precinct, where she is currently working as the Community Affairs Lieutenant. Thank you for all of your service. We wish you well. May St. Michael always reign over you. And joining the ranks of lieutenant, I'd like to call up Lieutenant Lori Campbell. Joined the New York City Police Department in March of 2000. And in June 2005, she was selected to be liaison for the NYPD and the mayor's office to combat the domestic violence. In 2002, Lori received a commander certification of appreciation from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, New York District. She received the 2012 We All Really Matter Warm Award in recognition of her vigilant work with domestic violence survivors. Thank you so much, Lieutenant Campbell, for breaking the cycle. And having said breaking the cycle, our borough president is challenging every woman here to join him on June 5th, 2014, for a cycle to break the cycle, cycling around Brooklyn. And so I hope that you can all join him in making sure that we send the right message. Break the cycle of domestic violence by cycling. Dr. Edna B. Craig, please come on up. We are honoring you as minister. You have been the Minister of Education and Community Outreach, member of the Executive Board of the Brooklyn Clergy NYPD Task Force, director of the Seniors Day Activities Program, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, Inc., the Interdenominational Ministers' Wives and Ministers' Widows, and other associations. And so, as you can see, we are blessed to have Minister Dr. Edna B. Craig. Thank you. I'd like to call up our very talented percussionist, Gabriela Dennery, a Brooklyn-based percussionist who left the practice of primary care medicine to pursue her love of music. Ms. Dennery has taught numerous djembe workshops, classes, and special events to diverse groups throughout the city, played for and arranged percussion and vocals for artists from opera to pop, founded the Brooklyn-based percussion and vocal ensemble Grace Drums, an all-women performance group. Give a nice round of applause. Our next honoree is Lauren Elvers Collins, community organizer. Lauren is the executive director of Church Avenue and Flatbush Avenue Business Improvement Districts, founder of the Windsor Terrace Alliance Neighborhood Association, created volunteer cooking events staffed almost entirely by women, which created gourmet meals for the Flatbush Reformed Church's soup kitchen. It is wonderful how you can incorporate business, volunteer, and forming what would be a good deed at the end of the day, all in one. Thank you for those ingredients. Ladies, please pose with our borough president for a group picture. We go from NYPD to FDNY. Tanisha O. Forbes, firefighter with the FDNY, a 5-year veteran. New York City firefighter currently stationed in Engine 230. Study at St. Augustine's College in Riley, thank you. I was trying to pronounce that correctly. North Carolina before returning to New York. Helps train FDNY hopefuls from the inner city, educates children in New York City schools about opportunities within the FDNY and fire safety. Tanisha and her 2 beautiful daughters reside in Brooklyn, and I hope that that's the next generation of women firefighters that you see here. Thank you so much. I'd like to call up Rabbi Linda Henry Goodman. She's a rabbi and a musician, a native New Yorker. Rabbi Linda Henry Goodman has served as rabbi of Union Temple of Brooklyn for over 20 years, ordained by the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion in New York, and first woman to serve on the rabbinic staff of Temple Emmanuel of New York, a talented musician and graduate of the Mainz College of Music, and earned an MA from Queens College. Thank you, Rabbi, for blessing us with your presence. I'd like to call our educator, Jacinth Hansen, working in the field of education, training and workforce development for 28 years. Interim Executive Director for SUNY Brooklyn Educational Opportunity Center. Tuition-free training to eligible New Yorkers to provide a pathway to lifelong learning, college access, and economic self-sufficiency, focusing on meeting people where they are and helping them connect to where they want to be. That is the message out of Borough Hall today, this administration under the leadership of Borough President Adams. It is how do we go to the people who need it most, and how do we connect the dots from one human being to the services without duplicating services. It is so important, the work that Ms. Hansen is doing. A round of applause to her. Leslie A. Hayes. I'd like to call up Dr. Hayes, graduate of the Mount Sinai School of Medicine at the University of Pennsylvania, chief of the Adolescent Medicine Department of Pediatrics at New York Methodist Hospital, president of the Brooklyn Pediatric Society, adjunct professor of pediatrics in LIU's Physician Assistant Program, provided over 20 years of service to the adolescent population of Brooklyn. Thank you so much, Dr. Hayes. And as we continue to push women into the applied sciences, this is the role model that we want to showcase. We want to show our youth everything is possible. Crystal John, a master's in social work, for 27 years, has worked to ensure affordable housing, vocational opportunities for women and families with disabilities in Brooklyn and the other boroughs of New York City, is currently the Director of Mental Health Services for PSCH, has been a tireless and pivotal force in ensuring that women of all ages are afforded the foundational living start that every person deserves. We can't break down a woman. We have to build them up, and that is what Crystal John is doing. Thank you for your service. Dr. Preeti Kanakamela is not with us here today. She's a historian curator, and we just wanted to honor her and have Kate Fermoil accept her award. Dr. Preeti has researched, wrote, and curated all content for In Pursuit of Freedom. And if you have not seen this particular curation, I ask you to do so at the Brooklyn Historical Society. She recovered the lives of lesser-known Brooklynites, many of them women of color, who through courage and conscience shaped their city and nation to reflect their revolutionary vision of freedom and equality. Her project has 3 exhibits, a website, walking tours, original theater production, and a K-12 curriculum and a public art installation. And so it does not go without saying, if we don't know our history, we won't know where to go in the future. And so it is important that we learn our history. Thank you so much. B.D.M. Colic Wallace, evangelist, educator, and CB16 chairperson. Betty has served as a role model to so many and has changed the lives by touching and changing her intervention and assistance through each individual. As an advocate, she serves as the chairperson of Community Planning and Zoning and Land Use Committee, president of her block association, and a member of the 73rd Precinct Council in her community. She accepted her call to ministry early in life and went to become an evangelist. Pursued her education at Brooklyn College, earning a BA in education and 2 masters, one from LIU and the other from City College. Lord knows what else is next. Thank you so much, Betty. I'd like to call up Shane B. Coleman, founder and director, Your Beautiful Child, creator of the Mindful Action Project, works with mothers of children with special needs and court-involved teenage girls, facilitates dynamic workshops that take exercises from improved acting, yoga, and her own intuition. Shane sees space for all women to live life in an authentic, unapologetic, and meaningful way. And I'll say that again. Authentic, unapologetic, and meaningful way. I just said today, this morning at a breakfast, I will not apologize for being a tough public service entity in the Borough President's administration because we expect results. Tamika Matheson, I don't know if you're in the room. I know there's a spillover, and we really appreciate everyone's cooperation and patience, and you're here because of love. Tamika perhaps may not have joined us. She is a high school superintendent, has over 20 years of professional service with the Department of Education, began her career as a teacher of social studies and grade advisor at Boys and Girls High School in 1993. Currently the superintendent of Brooklyn and Queens high schools, and continues to enthusiastically serve the children and families of New York City. How one person can concentrate on dealing with hormonal teens in 2 boroughs is beyond me, and so she deserves a round of applause. Tamara McCaw, arts professional, served the residents of Brooklyn as Director of Government and Community Affairs at BAM, and as a Brooklyn Community Board 2 member, chair of the Fulton Area Business Alliance, and a board member of the Pratt Area Community Council. A seasoned arts professional ensuring access to culture and the arts for diverse audiences is her primary passion. And it goes to show you, when we it takes one to know one. When we have role models as young women, we pass that on. And Tamara has made a name for herself in Brooklyn, serving in so many different aspects, and there's only the best is yet to come. Thank you, Tamara. I'd like to call up Renee Victoria McClure Mills, computer science. At the age of 13, she started her first business selling terrariums. Thank you. Entrepreneurial spirit has continued with various ongoing initiatives, an employee of National Grid for over 30 years. You would think she was 15 only. Motivational speaker, panelist, and trainer at professional conferences and workshops, engagements have included the National Society of Black Engineers, Blacks in Technology, Black Data Processing, Associates, BDPA, and others. So when we talk about the STEM program, science, technology, engineering, and math for our women, it is her who has created the pathways, and she is the pioneers who then saw a dream and pursued it with a vengeance. Now it is up to us to create the next generations of Renee Victoria, and I know they're out there. So this is an honor for Ophelia Perry to be escorted by the borough president himself. It is well-deserving. This is the president, Church Women United in Brooklyn. Dedicated woman of God. Dedicated over 19 years of service as president of Church Women United in Brooklyn, Inc. Wife of Frank Perry, the proud mother of the Honorable William Frank Perry III. And it's amazing how a woman can contribute so much and yet be so quiet and graceful. Ophelia, thank you so much. You demand power. We go from Ophelia to Jan Peterson, chair of the YRO Commission, and I should know this by now. I served with her, and that's one of my role models. In 1974, founded the National Congress of Neighborhood Women in the Williamsburg community. Was one of the founding members of the Women's Survival Space, now called the Center Against Domestic Violence, that started in 1976. It was the first battered women's center in New York State. In 2013, Jan coordinated the development of a neighborhood women's walk, and it is that her most appealing and most memorable of projects because I was honored to be a part of it. Jan has created what would be icons in our community, and it all began with women who were complaining about what was happening in the community, and she said, well, why don't you do something about it? And they actually did. And they were in the midst of men who were having the dialogue without them, and the women said, okay, you men are going to shut up and you're going to listen to us. And since then, we've had a daycare center created. We had a senior center created. We have housing, affordable housing created. 40 years ago, that concept of women coming together to do something about what they did not like about their neighborhood, that is power in our neighborhoods. Thank you so much, Jan. I'd like to call up Tanya Peterson Chandler, Esquire. Tanya, you don't come alone, huh? Initiated and enhanced a wide range of human service programs benefiting thousands of people with behavioral health issues, substance abuse and mental health alternatives to incarceration programs, HIV and hepatitis C prevention and treatment programs, alcohol education programs, employment initiatives, and the batterers intervention program, to name a few. She is helping the most vulnerable And that is a draining position to have. And yet she does it with love and care and a smile on her face. Thank you so much, Tanya, for being there. Oh, why do I continue? Tania, I'm sorry. Tania, We will now call our final honoree, Karen Tadros. Community advocate and activist, has been a producer and managing director for the nonprofit Bay Ridge-based theater company, Ridge Chorale, Jeff Samaha Theater Productions, founded in 1968. Has also served as second vice president of the Bay Ridge Community Council. Founded the Bay Ridge Cares Kitchen, which provide emergency relief to individuals and families in crisis, both financially and through support services. Financial empowerment is what we would love to see as far as our communities are concerned, because where there's a financial empowerment, there is a healthy borough. Thank you so much, Karen. And this concludes our honorees for the evening. Now we would love to hear from our keynote speaker, Ama Jamo. Please come up. Very few words have to be shared because the borough president had already introduced Ama. But Ama is an important and vital individual to this house. She's going to play the role of integrity officer. And if anyone knows, she means business as a former prosecutor. But that smile breaks down walls and barriers. And so if anyone thinks they can mess around with Ama, they have something else coming to them. Ama, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, what an introduction. Thank you, Deputy Borough President. Let's give her a round of applause because she's just amazing. Again, following up with the theme of women in positions of authority and power. And let's also congratulate our honorees once more. So I promise I won't be too long, but I have to tell you, I feel like the message is very important, so please bear with me. This is all about protecting our borough's greatest asset, our children. And we know when it comes to women, there's something that comes along with that, and that's children. And we're proud of that. You see, in these difficult times, it's easy to lose sight of what's most important in our society. The safety and well-being of our future leaders, our children. Children are our most vulnerable and valuable resource. We must in turn invest, protect, and nurture them. The children that are in the most in need our most attention are those growing up in high-risk families. You see, the bottom line is child abuse and neglect is a community problem. It's a problem that belongs to not just some part of the community, it belongs to every part of the community. It belongs not just to Brooklyn, not just to New York City. It is a global problem and concern. And that is why this message is important, because all of us walk away from this building being reminded of our role in the lives of children. They need us. Who else do they have but the adults in their lives? And in child abuse, you have to note that in the majority of the cases, I would say approximately 80% of the cases, abuse is done by someone they know. More likely, it's a parent or a family member or a guardian. It's not a stranger. So what does that tell us? It tells us that children are betrayed by those they trust most. Now, if they can't trust them, then what happens? And that's where each and every one of us play a role. I looked at these women who have been honored. They're great role models. But if you really look at the work that they do, every part of their job in some way segues into the life of a child. You see, that is the netting, the safety netting that children need in order to move forward in this society. You know, as a former prosecutor, and I was a prosecutor for 22 years, and yes, they called me tough as nails, and I sure as heck was, and I still am, because the charge is serious. It's important. When you deal with the lives of children, you know, I ran a bureau, I created one called the Crimes Against Children. It was a bureau that is still in existence, praise God, that focused on the sexual abuse, the physical abuse, and all child fatalities in this county, in Brooklyn, of children under the age of 11. That was a sad place to be. But in the same breath, as you know with children, I have to tell you, it was one of the most rewarding places to be. I understood the language this kid was using, though, because when he was referring to when he was in trouble, he talked about being spanked. And when he referred to abuse, it was called beat. He's 5. He knew the difference. You see, we have to discipline our children, but there is a difference between abuse and discipline. And that 5-year-old also showed me that we have to focus on these high-risk families. They are the ones in need. And if we bring services to them and to the parents and to the adults, we safeguard the children. They come hand in hand. You know, statistically, they say in the United States, 4 children, 4, die every day due to child abuse and neglect. 4. And out of the 4, 82% of those children are under the age of 5. My goodness. I still can't get over these statistics sometimes. And 42% of them are under the age of 1. They're the most vulnerable. That's why children preschool age are vulnerable victims. We need to do all we can to give the families the support they need. And we need them in school as soon as possible. As soon as possible. You see, when you think about what it takes to help these children and the families in need, you have to focus on the services that are out there, or sometimes the services that aren't out there, because they need the help. So having worked on these kind of cases for 22 years, and having tried Nix Mary Brown, which was one of Brooklyn's last most horrific case of abuse and neglect of a 7-year-old. Yes, she was bound. She was forced to defecate in the litter box. She was starved. This was in our county. This was right down the street. This was in Brooklyn. See, when I remember that and I think about the other cases, the names that never got the press, and then I think about Miles Dobson, who was just killed in Manhattan earlier this year. I sit back and I say, well, what are we going to do? I mean, a lot of the cases, like Nix Mary Brown, yeah, there was reform done. And just like another case of a little 8-year-old girl named Justina Morales, who died in Bed-Stuy, her body was never recovered. And the school system passed her on from one year to another. But there was reform. But what bothers me most and what troubles my heart is that soon the names are forgotten and the cycle continues. So that's why this message is so important that I need to impart from me to you. On behalf of the children who go nameless, on behalf of the children who have gone hungry and remained hungry in our county, on behalf of the children who sleep in a state of terror. You know, when I worked with these kids, and I think about this whole body of work, I understand one thing that becomes very important to me, and that is the only difference between me and them as children is that my parents were there for me. and I had a family support system. And I had people in my life that took the time out to pay attention. It just takes that much. So if each of us can rededicate to ourselves and to the lives of children, it will make a difference. Now, I say this now as what I would call a call to action. There's so many talented women and people and leaders in this room, and I look at the honorees and I ask each and every one of you, will you join us? Will you help us? The Borough President, our Eric Adams, and Deputy Borough President, Diana Reyes, they are going to create, and it's going to be a good thing, a task force focusing on children and families. And April is Child Abuse Awareness Month. And I need you guys to come out. I want you guys to call Borough Hall. You can get the details. But I need each and every one of you as partners. We've got to stand for our children. We don't want another case of a Nix Mary Brown in Brooklyn or in any county or anywhere. We need your help. The children need your help. Lastly, as I take my seat, I want to share a quote I came across. And for me, it captures everything. And I hope it will resonate in your hearts and spirit. And this was said by Pope Francis recently. He said, "A population that does not take care of the elderly and of the children and the young has no future, because it abuses both its memory and its promise." Peace and grace be with each and every one of you, and thank you for your undivided attention. God bless you.
At this moment, I'd like to call Ana Oliveira, Senior Vice President of Regional Manager, Investors Bank.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So my name is Ana Oliveira, and I'm a Senior Vice President, Regional Manager, responsible for our offices here in New York. And I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for allowing us to be part of tonight's event, joining in and celebrating the honorees. You know what? I don't think we've done enough, but I think we can do it a little bit more. Let's a round of applause for all the honorees tonight. Yeah. I'd like to take a moment also to thank our gracious host this evening, Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams and Deputy Borough President Diana Reyes. Thank you so much. As well as for our keynote speaker, Emma Jamo, for her engaging and thought-provoking address on protecting our children in the Brooklyn community. You know. And as I sat and as I've been hearing and reading the bios and all the accomplishments of all the honorees, it just really just brings me back to one of the sayings that our CEO and President Kevin Cummings always states and reminds us every time he gets a chance when he meets with us. And it's, we must be leaders that serve, not self-serving leaders. And I think that all the honorees really exemplify that. So I just wanted to say thank you for your hard work, and thank you again for allowing us to be part of this event tonight.
Thank you again. This job can never be done without the cooperation of supporters like Anna, and I wanted to just express our gratitude for sponsoring this event. It means the world to us and to every woman in this room. I'd like to now, as we conclude, grab your attention towards what would be the ticket that was given to you, because we have just a small token and we didn't have enough for everyone, so we decided let's have a raffle. And this is where the borough president plays the role of picking the winning ticket and perhaps hated by everybody else. No, we're going to show love. Yes, please, please.
Before we do that, actually, we're going to have, instead of, I won't pick it, we're going to have our chair of the Civil Rights Committee in the city council. I saw just snuck in. Come on up, Darlene. Councilwoman Darlene Mealy to come in. This is ladies' night.
All right, Diana. Okay. 663-091. Woo! Come on up. That's what I want to do, run. Come on down. Wow. Okay. 66091. She's a winner. Your name?
It's a little heavy. Rebecca.
Rebecca, that's it?
Rebecca Crew. I'm representing Bam and Tamara. Go Tamara.
Go Tamara.
There you go. It's heavy. It's heavy.
Oh, okay. It's a very heavy bag because it's courtesy of Fairway, and we wanted to just express our gratitude to Fairway. There's a wonderful treat there of every sort of ingredient you will need for your kitchen. And so, dinner's at your house, Tamara.
Keep it going.
Is there one more?
No, that's it. So thank you so much. Enjoy the refreshments downstairs. And we want to thank Eileen Newman. I just realized our staffer. Thank you, Eileen. Have a safe, lovely evening. Thank our honorees.